I
Yep.
would say so, why not?
Yeah.
For
You
Convenience.
got a point.
Yeah, and it's a little
Yep.
bit more north, you know?
Yep.
And
You,
then,
you were ready, my friend. Yeah, but part of it is I think, and I've talked to a couple different people, Berlin as a whole, I very much doubt people are going to use Chime and SoFi. They want to have somebody to go talk to. Doesn't have to be a big branch, but a branch manager, somebody to go talk to, which is that's an option as well. I mean, you look at the success of, I mean, again, yes, part of it was the bank's mentality, but two, when Mike was a branch manager of Farmington Bank, he knew everybody. Couldn't necessarily do every deal, but you knew Mike and wanted to talk to it, right?
Stephens,
I know literally one branch manager, maybe two max out of every bank in town.
They change.
They do.
all right, you said we're ready to go, so we'll call
We are.
the order is six, yeah, okay. Welcome, everyone. Thanks, Vince, on the Zoom. Is there anyone else? No? Okay.
Not at the
Call
moment.
to Order, we've got, December minutes and,
Mr. Campanelli was not there, so it looks like we're not able to do anything.
yeah. All right, so we'll move in public comments, which is 0, right? Then we have
Comments?
abatements. Item 4, buddy.
Sure. Give me 1 second. Let me. So first thing on, Chris Capola may come on. He was not feeling well.
Okay,
We will see the other two. I did not hear back from.
Okay.
So, but we've got the four of us anyway, and hello, Mr. Fortunato. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm sorry I had you guys on mute. My dog was competing for attention here.
No, all good. No, I appreciate it. You helped us make a quorum, and thank you for being here.
I'm happy to do so. I'm getting over a cold, which is why I'm staying away.
No, understood. We appreciate that. So anyway, so kind of with Diadio at this point, it was discussed at the December meeting. He was invited to come to the January meeting, was unable to make it, so we just pushed it another month. So February, they're going to discuss it.
town council.
The subset of the town council, ordinance committee, which then would make a recommendation to the council. Yeah, the ordinance committee, which essentially is made up of town council members, so it's just that they would then send it up. I think as of right now, he really wants to set the assessment before the approval was given, before anything was built. So I don't know, we'll call it 150 grand, $200,000 versus a couple million. So
It's out of our hands.
it's out of our hands, yeah. And really, at this point, I don't see us putting any in, but
Wanted that before you started building, fund the tax abatement on building property worth now.
But he also probably needed the tax abatement to go to the bank, which probably helped.
he did. So moving to the next one here. So I had a handful of emails that went back and forth to Attorney D'Onofrio. And so what we had basically had gone back and forth, and what he basically had told me was, and just to go to the second page, if you would first. So is the assessed value of the property increasing because of improvements of the parties seeking tax relief? So would the condo owner create an increase in the assessment? Now, for what we're talking about here, after a discussion with the assessor's office and also thinking about who's going to go in there, manufacturing contractors, it's going to be negligible at best. So if there's no increase in the assessment, by state statute, we really can't offer the 3-year tax abatement.
So when the developer gets his CO.
Yep.
The assessment is set,
Yes.
and then he sells it a month later
Yep.
to a new buyer. There's really no increase in assessment, so we can't do an abatement.
Yeah, that's what the attorney is telling us, and that was basically what this whole string is here. That because there is no, it's probably negligible at best. I mean, if you look at the buildings behind where Pete was, most of those manufacturing contractors, they did a little bit of work, but you're not talking about an increase dramatically in them. Because new construction is already going to have a very high assessment.
We're sitting here saying that this project will not get any abatements
No. We will not, and I will,
unless the developer restructures how he wants to do development and sell units, right?
Yeah, I think, that 600 Bar Road, that's a condo association. Did they get abatement?
I only found abatements for the developer. I did not find anything on the individual buildings.
I don't know if you.
You know, it's a 3-year thing.
Yeah, 3-year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, John's.
John, yep, yeah,
John.
yep.
So,
Yes, I thought, I need to just basically back into John, let him know, look, this is where things are. And then if he'd like, we can re-examine where he is with things.
yeah, it's sort of like. What we're. Well, it'll be, John's gonna have to brainstorm if he wants to change his business model.
Yep.
And how he develops this, so maybe maybe or not, it's beneficial to change things, so get some abatements.
Yep.
Cause, there's a lot of steam being. There's a lot of money being pushed out here,
Yeah,
and I'm just trying to think like, how can we,
Yeah,
I don't know. but-
yeah, we approved him a 10-year tax abatement, so that was approved, just never went to council. Because he was not planning on being around for 10 years. So I'll have a conversation with him, and then if need be, town manager and town attorney to see what might be possible at this point.
so when we did the 10-year,
Yes.
were we assuming he was gonna keep the whole thing? Or he was gonna condo it out there?
No, he was gonna condo it out, but it was based purely upon the investment, which was over the $12 million, which gave him the 10 years.
And then we talked about him maybe stopping midway,
Yeah.
like, what do we do? Like, he
Yep.
doesn't finish the development, and you say,
Oh,
oh,
that's why you gotta do when it's complete.
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's,
You
and that,
don't
and
wanna
maybe
do that
maybe that's
before.
something where, okay, we do a tax abatement of a shorter, again, we really need to take, I'll talk to John and figure out what,
Maybe he goes for, let's say he went for. Different, three smaller developments, and you got tax abatement on, or like quarter,
Yeah.
like a quarter. So he goes for a quarter, he gets a tax abatement himself.
Mhm.
And then he finishes that quarter and he gets his tax abatement, then he goes for another 1/4.
yeah, because we did something similar with, when Earl Wicklund did Webster Square. That was done like 2 buildings at a time.
But he's retaining those.
Oh, he is, absolutely, yeah, no, he's
Right.
definitely retaining those, so it is a different
There's the
situation.
Yeah, the whole thing about, going out and everything
I
else.
know.
So worst
Comes to an
case
area.
scenario, if he sold each different unit or building and they got a 3-year abatement, that would still help the new purchaser.
Well, but the problem is it's, after CO to new assessment is not gonna be much, like, he only has it for, let's say he sells it 4 months after he gets a CO, the assessment goes up by 10 grand.
Yep.
Then the new owner gets a 3-year abatement based on like 10 grand.
Well, the other, but we were looking at more of giving them a tax abatement after the fact, after construction's done, et cetera, when they buy the condo. That was really what the discussion was, which was almost creating a new avenue, which we hadn't had. The current avenue he has, let's say he goes for 3-year instead of having the 10-year, whatever. I can find out from the town attorney whether or not those might be transferable to a condo owner at that point. Because I think we talked about it, which is giving someone who's, I don't know, picking up, I'm buying 2 condos for $500,000, you can get a 10-year tax abatement. That's not realistic. But let me find out and then,
That's not-
Tell John what we're learning, Chris.
yeah, I will.
So he can sort of put on his thinking cap, and maybe, cause he's.
Well, yeah, the thing about it is, you can't, it's not one size fits all, because you got different sized buildings. And you can't have the guy that buys the expensive one have the same treatment as the guy that buys the cheapest.
Tell me what the dollar figures again, what do they gotta cross over?
Sure, 100,000 would give you 3 years. A million would give you 5. 3 million would give you 7. And then 12.5 would give you 10 years.
Okay, so if they bought one of the entire buildings, they would be over the $1 million mark. wouldn't they?
Most likely, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
but you gotta admit, if you're buying only 3,000 square feet, you're making an investment, yes, but it's not a very large sum.
Yep.
And 3 years should still help you.
Well, and I wonder, maybe we do this, and to go back to Peter's thought of the completion, which is, do we do it building by building? that building's gonna cost you $1 million, okay? You get 5 years on that building.
I think the fair would you wait till the project's in, and then they could extend from the developer to the condo association. And then the condo association, they divvy it up by the size of the building,
Yeah,
let them do it.
okay.
This
So,
way, everybody gets their fair shake.
so it's not just the building, you gotta take their portion of the land too.
Yeah, well, that's.
So take the overall, just take the overall.
Yeah.
Tax rate. And then. The lots are probably gonna be pretty much same size, might be a little bit small, but if you just, okay, this is what you got, this is what you pay for it, so. That's what I would go by. Your piece of the puzzle configures how much you paid. You know, if you paid $1 million for this one, you paid 300,000 for that, well, you're only get a third of a discount,
Fair.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna be something where we'll have to try to figure it out, and yeah, there is differences here. Because it is a condo situation, but I'll have a discussion with John and see where it goes, but
Probably happen, you know, between him and his people, and they could put their thinking caps on, maybe they come up with some.
Kind of throw all ideas in that hat and see which one they pull out.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I was
Alrighty.
actually thinking this, if they were, like, if you could sell him the lot, sell the buyer the lot, then John's the developer. And builds it for you know what I mean? Sort of separate.
Yep.
But,
Yeah.
No, because you got the improvements on the building,
yeah,
so now you're making it twice the work.
Yeah, and the way I believe that Joe Ferraro does it is he figures out, okay, so the entire property is worth X.
Yeah.
So what percentage of the total property do you have? And that's figured into the assessment,
right.
in the increase in assessment. So that way the building, again, because the building's owned in common, so.
Okay,
We'll see. Arbor Farms was the gentleman that wanted to do his tree company there, the last P and Z meeting. There've been some back and forth. I think they're gonna come up with some language that will allow him to do that, that essentially,
Buy it, right?
what's that?
He did buy it,
I am not sure.
yes, he did, he
He did.
closed,
didn't he?
he closed, he owns it, yep.
Yep, yeah, so he was there, his attorney was there and had a good discussion about it, and there's some language that was put together that Alexa was working on, so hopefully they can have something in front of the commission to make that happen. Language addition, older properties, church, clubs, etc. That one, How-
December 30th, it closed.
December 30th.
They bought it,
Yeah, yeah, December 30th. bought it.
so they're gonna do apartments or?
No, this is the,
Arbor Farm.
Arbor
Farm.
Arbor Farms, yeah. Yep.
December 30th.
Oh,
Gotcha.
Where the heck are we now? I'm sorry. I was
Sure. No. We moved to language addition for older properties and church clubs. We have the language that's in there right now. It's just coming up with what needs to be put forward. And I think what's gonna happen on this one is this is gonna be something that the planning office is gonna put forward. Because it really is something that's been pushed by the Historic Commission. We've talked briefly about it, but it is something that is important. Again, the church in East Berlin is why we got involved. But I think there's an opportunity here. It's just figuring out kind of where it lands, but I think that what they have here made sense, multifamily, professional offices, some type of personal services. Above and beyond that, I mean, somebody had mentioned the word retail. The problem is you're talking about, for instance, let's say you're talking about where you guys are, Worthington Ridge. You got really small properties and you got like the old library. Retail doesn't make any sense. You don't want to bring in that kind of traffic to
No.
existing residential
How many
neighborhoods.
square feet is the structure?
In East Berlin, well, you have two structures. You have the church is probably about 3,000 square feet or so, then you parse it in the back, it's about 1,200 square feet.
Oh, so 4 apartments,
That's
Yeah.
what he was thinking.
yeah, that'd be nice.
Lobster King, he's gonna be going in front of P and Z in the old, left-hand side of the Average Joe's building, I believe in January. Gentleman's been working for a number of people. This will be his first restaurant, but, he's got some good ideas he wants to do.
How many square feet is that? Couple thousand?
About 2,000.
Yeah,
Yep, about 2,000,
oh,
yep.
good, that's nice, I hope that he does well then.
Yeah.
Average. Jim, average, you know,
Oh, I didn't know that.
What,
Forrest, over the neck.
Joe? What'd you
Yeah,
say?
that kid, that had the gym there.
Yeah, what?
What was his name? Forrest Foster, passed away.
Oh, no. He was only the kid's name.
He's like 43.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Not average anymore.
No.
Oh,
It's
that's
crazy.
sad. That's
Not
sad.
to interrupt.
Yep, no, it's okay. So CMDA, which is Connecticut Municipal Development Authority, public hearing in front of the meeting tomorrow night. Just a quick overview. If then town council is okay with it, they will allow Ryan to sign the memo of understanding. Essentially, at that point, they're going to talk to us about, okay, what potential changes could be made in the planning and zoning side to be able to tap into the money. Shaler Honda, close to completion. This is the one where about 6,700 square feet is in Berlin, which is the new service center. Working right now, and I found out it is not a certificate of occupancy, it's a certificate of compliance because it's not a brand new building, it's an expansion of an existing building.
Okay.
So he's working right now with different departments in the town hall. The hotel on Diadio's property going to P and Z again, I believe this month or next month.
Okay, but they got the okay for the 92 room instead of
I
100?
think it was 92, yes.
Okay,
Yep, yep.
Great.
I believe that is what the flag ended up doing. And then the next piece was the POCD. Hello, Mr. Capola. Thank you for joining us. Sorry you were under the weather.
where's, oh, he's in?
Yeah, far right hand side.
Okay. Hi, Chris.
So we do have the pages that Eddie had asked for, 123 through 137, I think it is.
All right, guys, go to 123. We'll start there and I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. If you want to have discussions on something that we are on, just stop and then we can talk about it. Okay,
Give me one second.
first one, on page 123, number 3.
Hold on one second, Eddie. I just wanted to see if I can pull up pull up what we have here that way. Dun-dun-dun-dun. I can pull it up on the screen that way if anybody wants to see what we're looking at and what we're talking about. Greatest thing, but at least it's something. Okay, hold on one second, guys. Let me get this set up here. Just gonna do the share screen. Alrighty, so this is what we're talking about, page 123 that Eddie was working on. I need to figure out if I can get this thing to actually flip sideways, and I have no idea.
That's okay, we'll just keep it.
Ah, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen,
There you go.
winner, winner, chicken dinner.
We good?
We are good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Number 3, reverse to reviewing the different zones with the assisted living and BT1, BT2, OT. Okay, so that goes with suggestions that we might have had for those particular zones. Next page,
But,
120.
I'd say, some of these things, like. We really gotta have combined meeting with P and Z on some of these things, you put all the work and go into this and with suggestions, then all of a sudden it just gets kicked out. So. I don't, maybe I'm wrong, but.
But see, that would have been nice, but when we did have joint meetings with them, they had us come up to the microphone. And it's like,
Just have a casual meeting in between.
that's,
Just,
that was better to communicate that
it's
way.
easy. Everybody's sitting at the table. Nobody's sitting on a throne. Everybody's sitting at the table. Everybody's talking.
Yeah.
And keep it a regular, casual conversation. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Come up to an agreement rather than feel like you're in court.
Well, let me throw that out there as an option and see what kind of feedback
Yeah, I
we get.
couldn't agree more. I mean, and then we can easily give them why we're thinking the way we are.
Yep.
That's all. And then if they don't agree with it, okay, and then we can hear, what their opinion is.
Right. At least you get feedback. That's something to work with rather than no.
Well, the only reason why I got upset is because the way they came up with their decisions did not make sense of how they came up with that and what parcels they were actually talking about. And so that was the main focus of me to say, okay, what parcels are you actually talking about? How many are out there that are 1 acre? How many are 2 acres? And what could be built on there? And you should know at this point that a 1 acre piece could probably support, let's say 8,000 square feet of development, and so forth. Let me stop there, okay? But because I think your idea is very good. And then we could go from there. How's that? Sure. So I could. Okay, good. Page 24, number 1, this talks about PSA districts and the mixed use of residential with the density, with the affordable housing. Number 2, BT, affordable housing and commercial development. Okay, remain required with the components of new development. Once again, it's talking about affordable housing that we've had discussions with before. Number 3 is refers to Kensington Village. I know they had discussions that they felt as though when we want to increase the density of I guess it's a zone that's Ron's auto is on.
Yep.
They didn't like the idea that there was so much traffic on Farmington Avenue now, and that this development might really affect it that much more. But you got to know how much this unit would generate as far as traffic and so forth. So that would be something maybe they want to look at in the future, and they did say that they would look at that in the future. So they handled that well, even though they didn't take care of it. Now they're gonna look at it in the future. Page 125, numbers, I guess, starts at 1. I didn't realize, okay. Streamline the town's business permitting. I mean, that's nice to have it in writing, but a lot of things you still have to cover. But I guess it could be attempted to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that we have been able to do is, for instance, restaurants, which are probably the most challenging of businesses. I've been working very hard to either do Zoom calls or in-person meetings with the folks all around the table. That way they can tell the story once. So fire, building, health, planning and zoning, sewer and water. It doesn't always work, but at least that way they don't necessarily get the answers they're looking for, but they at least know who to talk to about the different issues, because each one has a piece of it. So that has gone pretty well. I think the biggest thing at this point, I think that I've seen is certificates of occupancy tend to be challenging because it has to go through like 3 or 4 departments, and that just tends to make things challenging.
Yeah, but that's worth its weight in gold when they write down knowing what they have to accomplish.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it really
Yep.
does help a developer.
Yep.
I think the Zoom is a good idea because it acquaints the person with people in the different departments.
Absolutely.
And they really, and then that same thing with the different departments, when the person comes in to talk to them, they kind of know who he or she is.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, and to a large degree, that's really, especially with like a restaurant, we'll just take anything that has a health department. 90% of it follows what Jeff from the health department does. So he'll get a plan, he'll do what have you. His plan review then again is going to have stuff. It's going to be building department with improvements. It's going to be fire marshal. So it's important because I think that even if they figure out, okay, what do the different departments do? Because that's a big part of it too, is they really have no idea.
Mhm.
So that introduction is good because we do, hey, who are you? What department are you with? Talk about the project, and usually not the long calls, but I think it is helpful because at least the right people are there to at least be part of the discussion.
If you're a first time business owner.
Yep.
You come into town, you gotta be scared. I don't care who you are. Yeah. You don't know where to go, who to talk. Yeah. Thank God for.
yeah. I mean, it's great when, when someone holds your hand, you appreciate it.
Right.
And it's like anything else that you don't want to go ahead and do something to find out, now I gotta go back and dig this up. And
If you had kind of a guideline. Of, the different departments you have to go. I mean, it could be broken down to, you have the restaurants. These are kind of, not the rules are correct, but here's a layout of what you gotta go through, who to see first.
oh yeah, it does help. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I say Chris sometimes too, trying to explain something to somebody when they're sitting there, and, cause you don't, if somebody's telling you, okay, you gotta do this. Unless you're writing it down, you go out and you're not gonna remember, like those 5 things, you remember that. 5 words,
Yes, yes,
You know,
yeah. I mean, I don't know why when we're talking, we talk about a restaurant coming in and find out that you're looking for your final approval that you don't have a grease trap. Okay? Now, that throws a wrench into everything, okay? You're gonna now dig up the floor, you're gonna do this. So this is a good thing that the town does, helping them along. Educating them beforehand. Number 2 talks about, dealing with the banks and maybe you can give it a referral and so forth. The Small Business Administration lending and so forth in that category. Number 3, continue to support with the tax incentives, things we were just talking about now. We all know that just gives these people that little boost, that few dollars that keeps the project alive, and it's the banks like it, and so it's worth for us to keep, that on the board for them. Encourage high-speed broadband and so forth, that's nice when it happens, but it still comes under, I guess, so. Continue implementing and fine-tuning strategies, engage in the plan. What is this? All in Berlin, okay? Things that have been developed lately that brings the
it is.
spotlight
nice.
to the town.
Definitely,
Yeah.
good job done on that.
Yeah, Chris, it's just, we're very happy with how you make things work. There's no doubt about it.
Well, the one for 5 things today came out, and it's kind of silly because the photographer gave me a GoPro. So if you get a chance, check out the 5 things. It's quite
Oh, yeah, in fact, yeah,
it's entertaining.
cool.
Yep.
Okay, I don't know, maybe I said this before, and you guys stop me if you want to discuss anything, okay?
Mhm.
And, cause I'm just gonna keep moving this along. Continue the town's economic development marketing, we've been doing that, just what Chris just mentioned. Support the arts and the
Yep. Hold on
cultural
one
committees.
second, Eddie. So if you flip to the last 2 of the last 3 pages here, there was a little thing that we had. New England Real Estate Journal had their fall preview. So I just kind of have a copy in there, a little profile on me. And then what we've done here is we've been doing something a little bit different with our marketing. On the bottom there, you can see for a while we were doing a lot of our marketing on like aerospace, which is great. This is a little bit different. It gives more of a, hey, here's what's happening, here's who we are, and just something a little bit different, highlight what we're doing, and then the QR code, which gets somebody directly to Solid Berlin. So it's a nice little way to go about it. We don't do these often, but it's nice to kind of get ourselves out there
Yeah.
in regional publications.
We're lucky to have the team with how you promote things, no doubt about it.
Well, it's been great because they're there when I need them, but it's not a full-time person. It's not somebody I have to create work for, and it's been great because their expertise comes to the table when it's needed. I know we're planning on doing the eLocal Win Local again this year, most likely to do it with a bus tour. And so we're already starting to think about kind of who we're going to do it, how we're going to do that. Most likely we'll do the same campaign we just finished, which was the seasonal gifting starts with 5. It was monumentally successful. So probably do that again in the fall. So just get to look at things that work well. And, we've had things that did, things that didn't, but continue on at this point. So please, Eddie.
Great. Number 4, the arts and the culture committees to support them. Now, just briefly, I'll mention, I was all against murals, okay? And I don't know if I still am against them because that could be abused. But lately, I've been down at Virginia, and I've seen some of them that were actually gorgeous. Yeah. So maybe it's something we want to look at in the future. I don't know if it would be good or not. Okay, I'm not saying I'm supporting it or I am, but maybe we should keep an open mind with them, identify sites, that would be suitable for development. I mean, and the small lots were the problem, you know, small lots with, not much frontage can be dangerous, because you're gonna have, driveways that are too close together, but, it's something that we still have to, look at to see if in the future that if it could be combined, or even if that smaller lot that's, a third of an acre could maybe share a driveway with next door. A lot of times that don't work, but it's worth to look into. Page 126, down here, number 8. To study the planned shopping, the PSDD, and the overlay has been eliminated because no one really understood the overlay, and including myself. I just never understood why it was there in the first place, but they decided to eliminate it, which was good. Okay, so this is under a high priority, because that's when I got up there and I spoke as a property owner, not representing this town, because I figured, obviously, I never hide that, you know? Saying that that planned shopping was the catalyst and so forth, so hopefully something happens there, because they did allow some uses on there that made sense. And maybe they could even review that again. Let's see. Page 127, review the parking requirements. Here's another thing that me personally, I didn't agree with. I don't think parking requirements should be lessened. I said, because once you don't put that in your development and you find that you're short on parking, you're gonna have a problem filling that space. And
But wasn't that considered just under a certain amount of square feet? Not for the overall, not a blanket one thing serves all. I thought it was for lesser square footage of like, apartments and stuff.
Yeah, see, even a lot of this discussions came with the planned transit oriented development, thinking that people were going to take the train to work and so forth. My thoughts were, even if you took the train to work, you're gonna have a car sitting in the parking lot. And so they allocated 1.5, because that apartment could have 1 or 2 people. But what happens when each one of them have a car, or even if there is 1 car and then they have people over, where are they gonna park? So I didn't think cutting back the parking makes sense, but it was something to consider in the future, I guess. So which one was I? 4? Review regulations for different land use, the housing development. So mixed use, kind of like works both ways. Number 4, this one here is talking about the aesthetics, the appearance of things. Work with and provide incentives for commercial property owners, Farmington Avenue and the Berlin Turnpike to improve the appearance. I mean, that carries its weight in gold right there, to have something that's attractive and
It's not that affordable, because you had that grants, but
Steep grants.
yeah,
Yep.
it did help, sure.
Yeah,
There's certain areas that people just didn't have the money to do it, or it actually gave it that little boost to have them complete it. And on page now, 128.
hold on one second. I just with that thought in mind. I was up at the Capitol. Oh, last session before, and so Planning and Development Commission or committee, whatever it's called, and so they had asked me about blight. And so what I told them is that in my mind, there's 2 distinct sides of blight. The first is they need to give towns the ability to do more than just throw paper at people. Because it's like $100, $100. It doesn't make a difference. If you're gonna make it hurt. Particularly if it's because most blighted properties tend to be in a spot that are very visible. You'd like to see them be something that's not blighted. And I said, the other side of it is give towns like Berlin the ability to do facade type programs, because I would say, bar none, we got better projects because we had the money to match. We had Brian Humes on board. So we got things that actually tailored into each other, and even small stuff made a huge difference. So I'm not gonna stop trying. The steep angle, I think, is just gone because of the gentleman who oversees the program, but I'm gonna keep looking, including talking to the Main Street program, because even a small amount of money, because I figured for every dollar we got of state money, we got about $1.30 to $1.35 of private investment in Berlin. That's huge. And we did 75 projects total. Not all of them were big, we did half of Revision State Coffee's sign.
Right.
We did half of Beaton's, two completely different projects, but we also did Dairy Queen, we did the brewery, we did the outside. I mean, the stuff that was done has made a dramatic difference. It's just figuring out where do we figure into the mix? Because really, Steep is the only program that's out there that a town like Berlin can tap into and have some degree of flexibility. Because everything else, I mean, we've been good. We got, with the connectivity and the sidewalks, but those are just so defined on what you can use them for.
Right.
So I'm not going to give up trying. So
So some of the buildings, they just added architectural detail to it. That just made
Sometimes
the
that's all
building.
it takes.
I think when Frank did his building, everybody kind of picked their head up and went, "Wow, that looks pretty good. I think I want to do something in my building."
Yeah.
I mean, and that I look at it too is what if, for instance, let's say you have up and down buildings and they're currently residential on Farmington Avenue. A sod grant might make the difference to help do the outside of the building to make it in commercial building. Because we do have ones, particularly if you look at the area right around Starbucks and CVS and Walgreens. There aren't a lot of them, but the ones that are there, little kick in the butt could help to turn that into something.
Sure.
So, sorry, Eddie, you were saying 128?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. All right, assist property, private property owners, that's what we just talked about. Number 3, communicate with property owners, okay? Chris is out there, okay, getting, the feel of things, get their opinion, okay? They're the ones, that could, get things done. They have, some, opinions that we should know about, and so it's important to keep communicating with them. Number 5, expand the walking, I mean, when a downtown is walkable, it's enjoyable. And that's what we're gonna get to after we could briefly talk about the streetscapes and Benson. Okay, which just make things that much more inviting and so forth. Number 13 on the same page, connect Berlin, connect Steel Boulevard with the train station parking and Depot Road. And maybe in the future, that whole area could be expanded.
Yeah, actually, when it is complete, the gentleman who I work with at CT Transit, when they moved the bus line that used to go from New Britain to the vibrant Meriden Mall. Yes, irony, dripping all of those words. His plan right now is to go through Steel Boulevard to the train station and then to cut through the rest of the route. So he's even planning on doing that, which is good because that'll offer an opportunity for employment right there in the center, which will be nice. And then we've also, discussions continue with DOT about maybe part of the parking lot, but it's still very early in the process. But they're willing to at least talk about it.
Page 131 talks about the low impact, the design and what's that?
Sorry, you jumped, we had to catch up.
Oh, this is 128 and I got, okay, I'm sorry, 129.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm sorry, 129.
that's good. You confused us.
Yeah, I saw 131. I have no idea why I have that there. Okay, let's put a line through it.
There you go.
Okay, 129?
Yep.
Okay, good. Number 2, tree low impact designs and measure of the transportation infrastructures, once again, I guess maybe that would refer to the bus that now goes from New Britain and through the different businesses. Our career bus, I guess we called it, right?
Clear corridor, yep.
Yeah, career corridor. So that refers to, okay, in seeking grants, continue the, investment in streetscapes, through the commercial districts. So there, we got the streetscapes that we worked on and benches. And me personally, I love benches. I think that's very inviting. There's nothing better to drive through the roads and see people sitting and conversing, and it's just a nice thing to see, and people enjoy it. Page 130. This has to do with the bicycle racks, train stations, schools. For us to keep, moving that forward. It's little stuff, and it makes a difference. Number 5, continue the investment, improving with the existing sidewalks. Again, that's, I guess that's throughout the whole town, and I know they have a limited budget. There's always people that want something done in their section, but I guess
Well, we've been,
first it's gonna be around schools.
we've been pretty successful. In fact, we just got our either 5th or 6th connectivity grant in a row, which first of which brought Town Hall down to Farmington Avenue and Main Street. Now it's more of really filling in gaps. We have one that's called Safe Routes to Schools, which we're gonna be doing interviews Wednesday and Thursday with consultants to help us make that happen. So these were actually federal funds that are coming through DOT. So yeah, we continuously look to find funding, because I know sidewalks, even though if they're in front of your house is vitally important, but in the grand scheme, it goes down the list from a capital improvement side. So we continue to look for monies for those, and it's been pretty good so far. We haven't hit everything, but I think we've done a lot better connecting some of the areas, particularly where they might be more, a good example would be Burnham. Burnham is a major thoroughfare, as is the beginning the top of Four Rod there. So now with the sidewalks, makes it a lot easier for people to traverse the area.
All right, 6 on that same page, page 130, still refers to the sidewalks, and to keep moving that forward. There's only one thing on page 131. Improve the Connecticut Transit bus service. Chris was successful, obviously, with that. And it's catching on. It's nice to see that there is that connection to get people into their certain careers and so forth.
Yep.
We can go to, I think,
Yeah,
130.
one of the things I was trying to tailor into, I've not had any luck yet, is talk to DOT about maybe doing some kind of a nice bus shelter in front of Stop and Shop. Because right now you kind of have that spot with the guardrail where somebody can stand, but it just, again, if they would be willing to do what I think we could do something, even work it into, again, make it a public art, etc. But it'd be nice to have that as a continuation of what we're talking about, and even better if somebody else could pay for it.
Is there any way that we can get those trees cut down, show the water? I mean, the water is quite attractive. I know it's on Stop and Shop's property.
I don't know whether it's Stop and Shop or whether that's a DOT thing. It depends where the right of way ends.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, best bet is you want to send me an email. Mike Ahern has a great relationship with the folks at DOT. Because anytime the shrubs and stuff next to Newport Center, where Vince Coffee is, he gives them a call, and they usually go in there pretty quick with weed whackers. So we can probably find the right person.
Well, there's trees and stuff there, but I'm just saying, as far as aesthetics, it would look nice.
Yep.
As far as that area.
Yeah, that was Dotson's Pond. That was a neighbor.
Is that what it is?
That was, yeah, when Deep House, the road from Deep House cut right between the two of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right where the road is now.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Ponds are big.
But it was much lower and the road used to flood, when it rained a lot. One time it was going over the
Oh,
road, yeah.
I always loved the story with Charlie Giannone. I think that's something. And that whole area would be nothing without his initiatives.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, actually, don't, everybody laughing. Charlie,
Yep.
how many bricks did you throw in the pond? You know what? More bricks I threw in, the less people ask me that question.
That's right.
It's great, yeah. Yeah,
But actually with clay pots and it's clay pots.
137 talks about printed material on number one, you know, different promotions and so forth. You know, we do that. Chris showed us just
Yeah, 137.
before.
What we missed? Something,
Why did I jump?
yeah, what happened to 133?
Let's see. Oh, yeah, there's nothing here. There's nothing on 134, 135. Yeah, there's nothing on those pages. Yeah,
37.
number one talks about, you know, print material, promote selling for the cultural resources. Number two is establish, unify with the presence of social media. Second one, this here, we started talking about that briefly with the farms of Berlin. I kind of brought that up at might have been the first meeting of the plan of development. And I'm not really sure if I should have brought it up. I just thought, you know, 5 acres would work for vegetable farming. Because vegetable farming wouldn't affect a neighbor. All right, and if you wanted animals, you should have the 10-acre minimum. You know, and the whole idea of when I brought it up for discussion is we're a farming town, okay? Even though, yeah,
Wood.
we were,
But yeah,
Farming town.
and for farmers to survive, you can't just have a vegetable garden. They
doesn't,
gotta sell other things with it. You ever look at the ones that really prosper? They have stands, they sell all kinds of different things, so there's other zoning you really gotta look at, so.
Yep.
What if they wanna open up a little shop and they were gonna sell goods that were made by people, you know?
yeah,
Right, you know, I mean, cause let's face it, you're not gonna make a living selling vegetables.
Yeah, and I think the entirety of what looks here basically what we'll call it strategy 4, 5, and all of strategy 5 really go directly to that, which
Yeah.
I think is important to look at because I think Chad brought a number of things I think we knew, but he brought them to real life to say, look, this cannot work because of the short growing season, et cetera, and trying to, again, we want to keep agriculture, which I get, but we need to be realistic on our expectations on what can and can't happen because somebody's got to pay a mortgage. But,
Yeah.
But I think at least having I think they made it instead of 5, they made it 4.8 acres. You can put a house on a farm where literally that was not allowed at all. You couldn't put a house on a farm in the BOD. Not a monster change, but it is a change. It's important.
yeah,
And I think we need to look at it. I know right now there's been a lot of interest in Bennerup's old property. Even though it's changed hands a couple times to uses that don't fit. There is somebody that I've been talking to for a couple of years. Hopefully they'll be going to P and Z. If so, they really want to make it more of a kind of a larger version of what Chad was talking about, which is more of like a nursery garden center where they make plantings and wholesale. And so if so, it'd be great because I know that property has been, again, I was not when it was up and running, but my guess is 15, 20 years ago, I'm sure it was thriving. And since then, not much has happened.
now where those 2 houses are, that his piece is totally different, is that correct?
Yes.
His is south of that?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's interesting. So you actually have the tree farm, then you have the lettuce, then you have the road here, whose name I can never remember. Then you have 2 pieces that are actually Fontanellas. And in the front here, there's just this little house that one of the Fontanella family members sold to somebody else. Now somebody else has it. Then you have the piece here, which is Bennerup's.
Oh.
So you have a
How big
handful.
was that?
The whole thing, Bennerups is about 20 acres. These together make up about 30 acres at this point. It was interesting because when I went with the Fontanellas, actually, Mr. Fontanella took a golf cart and we kind of did a whole path around here, which was quite amazing just to be able to get the full breadth of the property.
Yeah,
Not that necessarily you would see it, but I mean, I could easily see a whole bunch of horses out here just running around. But anyway. Yeah, and I think that's something that needs to really be looked at. I think this is the discussion with Chad, hopefully can get that conversation going to some degree, plus the Fontanellas. It's just, again,
so planning and zoning did address something of that nature.
Yep.
That it allowed it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess that's it. Is something that stands out that we should
I was gonna say, under strategy 6, number 2, that's what we're already talking about with the church for East Berlin and talking with Alexa and the Planning and Zoning Commission. So that one's already being looked at to some degree on 138, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So that one is definitely, yeah, so that's one that's already in, it's just figuring out the language and also what is a historic property, because I think that's important from a planning and zoning perspective. They like to be able to have their definitions.
Is that church actually on the historic?
What's that?
That church on the historic?
I do not know. I do not know. It was, I believe it's around 1900, so if it isn't, it should be. But I know really the big thing at this point is what is, and I hate to beat this drum because sometimes I probably beat it too hard, but it's what is bankable? Because if it's not bankable, nobody's gonna do it.
yeah, and the apartments won't affect the neighborhood.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I suggested, pick these things apart in our regular meeting, just pick a couple of cases. This month's meeting, we're gonna do a couple of
Yeah.
high points, so we don't forget them, so I have to walk away from today.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can definitely do that. That's
I
fine.
mean, we don't have to spend a whole meeting on it, but just
Yep.
spend a little bit more time. I think maybe 2 or 3.
Yep.
Fill them in. a meeting.
That
That
sounds good.
makes sense.
Okay.
Already. So just a couple things going on. Olson Construction, we did a milestone award. They were one of the top 20 construction firms with our friends at Fortunato, so we gave them a nice plaque for that. The Tri-State Materials Testing, 30 years, and they were one of the top 20 largest minority-owned businesses in Greater Hartford. We had another one as well, so just very cool stuff. Kennington Insurance to be determined. Arissa is the other one. Again, they were the other minority-owned business. Meritech on Main Street. It's interesting to go down to number 7, Ferndale Plaza, because one of the things we actually were talking about there was actually in pages we were looking at in the POCD. It talked about, I think, yeah, there it is, on 124, actually talks about the PSA zone and then looking at possible mixed-use residential development. So it's good to know at least that is in the book if conversation continue with him. Lately, the only conversation with him has been that Meeks did not make it. But I've connected Nikoi, the owner of Parishes, because he's been very successful in the middle of that funky, the funky complex there that Earl has. So if he can get a full commercial kitchen, I think he can continue to be very successful. He has a pretty good following now of Jamaican food, and pretty much he did everything without event hood, so hoping he can grow there.
What's interesting, what they want to do there, that the way the elevations rise are going to be against them, because they want to put apartments, in the back, and that first proposal came in front of us. I mean, obviously, we are quite honest with them, that 4 stories was not gonna work whatsoever.
No.
Right, but think about even the 4 on a hill, it was gonna be so much higher to begin with,
Yep.
Would 3 work? How high is 3? How many feet? Is that 35
That's
feet?
35 feet, yeah.
Okay. So what's the average house? Around there, a little more? Or a little less?
Probably a little less than that, but probably pretty close to that.
And then they're talking flat roof, so there's no peak to it.
I thought he said they were gonna take out some of that bank,
Yeah,
didn't he?
I don't know what his plans are. It's been tough to pin him down on what he's doing with this thing, because he's working really hard to try to lease spaces. Haven't heard
It
anything
would be
recently.
nice if we could see a little concept of what they're doing.
but they're gonna knock down the existing retail? Is that what they're talking about?
He has gone back and forth a couple different ways. Initially, the idea was to knock down the brick building, build a new retail building there, move the retail tenants over, and then construct new. But then again, let me find out. I'll invite him back to talk with us, because
Oh,
yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to do that.
yeah, okay.
Sherwood Falls, again, we got the grant, and so haven't done the site walk. But I will get in touch with them. Actually, we have a meeting with them tomorrow, so I can find out where that's going.
Okay.
Movie theater gateways, nothing really with either one of those. Town-owned properties, so let me just pull up a quick map here.
This, well, why is the movie theater on here? Was there anything going on there?
It was more of just trying to keep an eye on it, because if it doesn't make it, it's a very large property.
It's there because we talked about
In
grocery store too.
PSA, yes.
It's a location for the groceries. So,
Yep.
And like, you drive by there, like, is a movie house gonna be it or not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
And if
it's,
they're gonna go like, if they're not gonna make it, then I wanna try to be part of the steering process of who buys it, what
Yep.
goes there. You know?
Yep.
So that's why we sort of kept it there, but have we talked to anybody about that at all? Do you have a contact you talked to?
the owner of the property is different than the operator. So that makes it somewhat challenging at this point. I have not had any conversation with them recently, but probably a visit's not a bad idea, just to check in with them.
Well, where's the owner?
The owner is in Colorado. No. No, operators from Colorado, owners Arizona, maybe? Yeah, it's a weird scenario, but yeah, they,
Have you ever talked to the owner?
I did talk to the owner at one point, because we were trying to get, Art Shaler to potentially buy one of the lots out front for his inventory. So it's been a couple of years since I spoke to them. But let me,
Oh, yeah, they're allowed to subdivide that.
well, isn't part of it for sale?
it,
There's a sign there and everything.
it was for sale. The problem is when Morandi sold it to the movie theater, he put a use restriction on it, so automotive was not allowed.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot.
Really?
Well,
And that could definitely be changed, but it was something that just, it was, yeah, it was challenging to work with them, but yeah, I can find out.
just talk to the owner, just reach out, how you doing, you know, any
Yep.
plans or, you know?
It
So,
would be to Shaler's benefit to be right in the same location.
Yep. yeah, it would, and we,
Yeah.
we tried that quite a bit, and what ended up happening was, and this was a weird thing. The operator bought the two lots out front. So the operator, who has a master lease on the whole property, also owns the two parcels out front. Somebody else owns everything else. Very strange.
So it did get subdivided.
Yeah, it did get subdivided. So yeah, if you look at a map, it's funky, because you have those two pieces out front owned by the one group and the rest. So,
Makes it really tough to sell the whole thing.
yeah, it is. And,
That's
but again,
true,
if the operator doesn't make it, then there's an opportunity here for probably somebody to take on the entire thing in some way. It's just a question of what is it and how do you make it work?
Well, it's, you know, we just check in once in a while.
Yep, absolutely. No, and I can reach out to both the operator and the owner. So town-owned properties. So what I have up on the screen here is the town hall complex. And the little blue line I have there breaks off what is approximately a half-acre lot on Kensington Road. That's actually part of the 25 or so acre complex. It's interesting because you can't actually get to the site from here because of topography and dirt. But we do own it, and we mow it and we shovel it and the like. And in my mind, this was the lowest hanging fruit we have in town for town-owned properties. Because you drive by it, you wouldn't even know that we own it, but you got two houses on each side. And it's something that I think is
like the frontages are pretty good.
It is, I mean, it's a. Information, so,
Gotta be worth $1.50. Well, out of sidewalk.
yeah,
100 foot.
yeah, it's like 100 by 200. So it is actually, no, let's do a measure tool here, so measurement, yeah, oh, no, that's not what I wanted.
What's the topography of it?
Flat,
Yeah,
up until the back where it gets larger, but yeah, it's largely flat, because it's,
Almost 200 deep. Oh, 200.
0.51 acres. 0.515, 0.5 acres, so let me do this, and let me do the. Oh, let's see if we can do the topography here.
Sort of slightly rise.
What is it? What's that, an R15?
probably.
Yeah, it's a slight rise, but you can see until it gets to the very rear of the site.
100 foot's good for R15.
Yeah, so I mean, from the center of the site to the back of the site, it goes up about 20 feet, so it's 80 to 100. But that's also, you can see how close the lines are. That's a quick
Oh.
increase right up the hill.
That's all stone.
It is, yeah, I think it's,
Rock.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's rock, that's why it's never been touched. And then because if you come here down, you can see the parking lot, this is all trees, and here, in this short span, it goes up 110 to 150 feet. So it's just,
I'll tell you, get on old line, they have no problem removing rock
Yeah.
for housing.
yep. So that's the one that we had kind of talked about, and I know, so I'll let Dave.
See the development that's out there.
What are they getting for those lots? They answered their,
The other homes that were built was $1.1 billion. Jesus. So you figure the new lots and everything gotta be $1.2 billion.
wow. And what's going on in the corner? How many?
There's 13 all the way on there.
Really?
Actually, go to the road, you see the road they cut in?
No.
Go down there, the road, you stop, they got a whole thing laid out there. You go up the road, it's a cul-de-sac, there's 13 properties.
Oh,
And that's there, you still got some over still by
down farther.
56.
I know there's that one right across from the state, state area, you know, the
Right.
picnic area.
Right, well, they're still taking that out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's one further up, I don't know if that's sold or what. But look, they'd have no problem taking rock out of there.
Boy, Mitchell made out on that, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, this rock that's here isn't that bad to get rid of.
No.
Well, I think he has a good idea. If you have property. I remember an open area that they created probably 25 years ago. And it was behind all the subdivision. And there was no real right of way to the property. You know? Now they might have still put, you know, a little right of way in there, but no one would know that it was there. But you had to basically almost cut through someone else's yard to get there. And it was in the back. I mean, I think they had good intentions, you know, when you put the whole subdivision. To have some open space, but.
Yep.
Gotta have it accessible to the people.
So on this one, Chris he's had it on the agenda for a while, we've talked about it for a while, Chris talked about forming a little subcommittee. A few different members to review all this, right? That's what Chris has put forward to us several times. Even if we go form this little committee and they start meeting and looking at different parcels and saying, hey, how many pieces do we own in town? 300?
Yeah, it's about 300.
300. So we own 300 different parcels. So I told Chris, I said, I've been thinking about this. I said, why don't economic development just recommend, before we go through all this baloney of forming a committee and starting all this stuff, because who knows where the hell what's gonna happen in town council, they just die, like, they read the memos or whatever. What I'm thinking is, what if we send them a letter, we pick, I didn't tell you about that, I tried to play today, Chris. We pick 3 parcels. For example, Pistol Creek, the old clubhouse, right? Do something with that, put out an RFP and see what people have for ideas on what to do. We could rent it out to a brewery, a restaurant, a banquet facility. We could put this one there, and then we pick another one. Let's say you pick the old Mark Nissan, the one by Sage Park. Is that Mark Nissan? Is that Mark Nissan there? Or that was
Well, the old,
the
no,
old
X
one.
Center, that's part of the,
Yeah.
part of Sage, yeah.
part of Sage, that
Yeah.
block there, right? And so,
Car Street is car.
Dan Creed here.
yeah, and so we send them a letter from the EDC saying, look, this all started with Jack Healy when he was our town manager for a while. He said, you guys own too much stuff. You don't use it. And there's a lot of value there that could be, made to go on the tax rolls. And you should consider getting rid of some of these pieces, And that's how the discussion started way back when Jack Healy was here for town manager. And so Chris has sort of resurrected that, and Chris has picked this one piece to say, like, look, you gotta cut the grass all the time, you gotta shovel the sidewalk. And like, we're never gonna use this, so why don't we just sell it? So instead of forming a whole separate committee and getting that going, why don't EDC, we'll just pick 3 properties. We'll send a letter to town council saying, hey, listen, you've got the Pistol Creek Clubhouse is doing nothing. It just keeps falling down. Why don't you put out an RFP and see what kind of proposals you get to develop it? We would continue to own it, but people would pay us rent. And then you pick this one, and then, I don't care which ones you pick, but we could send them a letter. We have a vote in this commission, hopefully it goes unanimous, and say, hey, the EDC voted unanimously to recommend town council look at the potential to develop these parcels, either through sale, if it could be rented for a banquet facility, to see what the hell they do. Before we go through all this aggravation of making a special committee, because it may go to town council and it may just die. But if we send them a letter like this, and let's say one of the 3 they like, or they want to try something, and it starts to get some momentum and gather steam, then if we have to form a separate committee, we do it. I just think that going through the whole aggravation.
Well, let me,
of, like picking a.
let me do this, Dave. Let me get a letter together. You and I can work on a letter. We'll bring back to the commission for the next meeting. And then I will pick whatever 2 or 3 properties that they can
Yeah, let's
key in
pick
on.
3, let's.
Yep, because what I can do, because I got a letter from a developer out of Bristol who's bought a couple of pieces from the city of Bristol. They said to me, look, we think these 3 or 4 have possibilities. And I'm thinking we'll take the lead of them. We can look at it to make sure they're okay with us as well.
Right.
But if a developer tells me they have opportunities and there's the viability there, us pushing that forward is the best way to go. Because we're really going to be echoing what they're saying, but it's coming from us for them to take action.
We don't want to pick controversial properties.
No, absolutely, yeah.
People like
Well,
the
well,
stage one is
yeah,
like.
Yeah, I think
It's-
Sage and Pi-
Sage might be a little tough.
Sage and Pistol Creek, I think we push off until
No,
we can
but-
get some kind of feedback.
Gotta be so tough.
No, I agree, but I wanna,
It's going the same way. The whole thing's falling apart. The clubhouse has got to be on there.
Well, the thing is, I would like to see us look at the whole package. Okay, all the pieces of thought. But before we do anything, like you said, does the town council want us to do this? If they do, and then you create your committee that you're talking about, and then you look at the priorities of which ones you want to work on first. Some of them obviously are worthless, okay? The one next to Sage Park, you do that, you have it for overflow parking. But it's very far away from the fields. Okay, so what would happen if we sold the front piece, took the money from the front piece, and then the property that's right behind it, create a nice parking lot? And that would be overflow parking that's done correctly with handicap parking and so forth. Now, that's gonna be next to the soccer field and the football field. And that could be beneficial because now you're taking it and putting the front piece on the tax roll, okay? And something of that nature might make sense. All
It's
right.
a nice piece.
Yeah, Yeah, it is, there's no doubt about it, but that's just one piece, you're talking about, the clubhouse and so forth. Um,
We already talked to a developer about the clubhouse,
yeah,
and what we told them was, Chris and I met the guy. We told him, said, look, you gotta build us another parking lot, the same exact size as the Pistol Creek parking lot. On, Spruce Brook, right there. To replace all those parking spots for the people that go walking the trails, okay? He came out with a rendering. He had the same exact size, just, west, like, of that parking lot. He had it all laid out. He said, great. You can park all those people that wanna walk on the trails, go dog walking in this new lot, and then I'll take over the clubhouse, we'll do a development there, and I'll have all that parking. And I told him the first thing, if you can't do this parking lot,
Yep.
we're just gonna upset people if we don't have parking for the
Yep.
walkers. You know, cause if you have a banquet facility here, or a brewery, or a cafe.
Yep.
And the dog walkers and the people that wanna walk trails can't walk, it's over, we're in trouble.
Yep.
So he did, he came out with a rendering, and I got it.
Yep. So this, if you look at it here with the arrow, this is kind of what we're talking about over here, which is still part of the same parcel.
Right.
It's a little lower than this one, but if there was additional parking here in some way, I think, again, that could help offset it. But it was at least looked at by somebody.
Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
had the rendering.
No, we did, absolutely.
And it would cover as many slots, parking slots, that they currently have in front of the clubhouse.
Awesome. I will get that together and plan on having that for
So-
the next meeting, so
so
we can take some action.
I think this is just like test the waters.
yeah,
Let's just test the water, because, you
Yep.
know, and see what happens. These are big projects, so you gotta have, you know, you gotta put RFPs, you know, there's a project, because they got a bid on it, they come up with proposals. It's a job, but if we don't start it now, what the hell? And this is just, we're just talking 2 or 3 pieces, there's like 300, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and if I was to guess, 7 to 15 would be my guess that are worth looking at, maybe a little more than that. But again, there's not tons, but the fact of the matter is, if there's ones that can make life easier or that serve no purpose for us, it'd be an injustice not to at least have us take a look at it.
Look, I've said it here before, if you own Pistol Creek Clubhouse, I don't care who you are here, would you just keep looking at it, watching it fall apart?
Nope.
No, you'd say, hey man, okay. I got a guy I know in, I don't know, at Stanford, and he wants to have a banquet facility. Okay. Well, sir, you gotta renovate it, and then you can pay me 5-10 grand a month. And I'll give you the first year's rent for free, because you're gonna renovate and put a lot of money in. So the first year, you don't have to pay me rent. And after
Yep.
that, you pay me 5-10 grand a month.
Well, here's,
You wouldn't just sit here and look at it if you owned it,
well, here's,
nor would I or any of
yeah,
us.
well, here, and I mean, I look at this one too, is if we get any momentum on that, David Out Hospitality, which has grown from what, 2,000 square feet when he was at 1897, when Insulation Company used to be, if you remember.
Yeah.
He's in over 13,000 square feet, down 2,500. Only thing he doesn't have is a banquet facility. It's one of the busiest and most successful catering and hospitality companies in Connecticut. I would literally go to him first and say, hey, would you be interested in doing something? Because the only thing he can't offer is that. So I think there definitely is an opportunity. And I think we've turned the corner enough that there's enough business going on. And the fact of the matter is there aren't a lot of locations, because you're going to have to pay, you know, not against them, but the guys in Southington want 125, 175 bucks a plate. Then you got a convention center, they get a certain amount of numbers. Then you got the ones down by Long Wharf. There's not a lot.
No, it's not like, the interest is gonna be there.
Yep.
But the process
Yep.
to get there is cumbersome, you know, there's a lot of paperwork, it's gotta,
Yep.
you need RFPs, you gotta have
Yep.
proposals, then you
Yep.
gotta have bids, and then you
Yeah, I
gotta
mean,
award.
yeah, the good news is I've had these discussions with our town attorney, so we can make it happen, but I think that the letter's a good place to start. Get it to you guys, handful of properties, get it to them and have them take action at that point.
Let's see, let's just test the
Perfect.
waters, please.
if the town council gives stuff to go ahead, next thing we wanna talk to is town attorney.
Yep.
Because if you're going to have proposals coming in and there's going to be alcohol sold there, let's say it all falls together.
Right,
And something happens coming out of there. Is the town going to be responsible on a second party being sued?
Well, you know that in lawsuit, everybody gets sued.
Right. So there's an issue right there.
Yep.
Well,
Now,
then,
we want the building to be utilized, so we'll look at different alternatives. Worst case, okay, if your idea doesn't work, because it's a nice building, what would happen if we subdivide that and sell the structure as a residential unit? Right, and you got maybe 2 more houses in the front. That could work.
Hmm.
Right, we just don't want that thing to sit and rot.
I know that's what's happening.
Well, let me do
Find
this.
some use for it,
let
no
me,
matter what it is,
Right.
find a use that.
Let
Well,
me-
when you put out an RFP, you're gonna get
You're
proposals.
gonna get all
Yeah,
different.
you're gonna get all kinds of stuff.
That's not,
And then they can entertain it, and then the town council will say, look,
Oop,
guy wants
too
that
far.
type of facility here. Okay, Eddie
Yep.
says, hey, be careful, you better write up a lease that doesn't make us liable for anything if he's gonna rent from us. You know
well,
what I mean?
and it's,
You
and
gotta
it,
have an ironclad
and
lease.
it's interesting, because if you look at it right here, so the Pistol Creek, and you can see up on the screen, the Pistol Creek building itself, the parking lot in front, the land down here where potentially the other parking is, the lot does go back further. But then you also have the pieces here along the road. This is where we paid the guy, I want to say $1 million plus or minus to build nothing. I think those are worth looking at some point. Again, it'd have to be the right development. And this is where my conversation with Attorney D'Onofrio was very good, which is to put out we'll call it a targeted RFQ. The town would like to see X. If you would like to come in with an X, terrific. If you don't come in with X, we're just gonna shit can your proposal. But again, I think we gotta start small, so we'll definitely do that.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, no, I think that makes
Gotta
sense.
start at the office.
Yeah, let's just test the
Yep,
water.
Yep, no, I think that makes perfect sense. Awesome. Yep. So next one, if you go to the very last page, we have a schedule set up. It should actually be at the last line, should actually say 27.
Although just flip everything over.
Oh, yeah.
oh, yeah,
Yep, yeah, whole thing.
Oh,
So
good.
very last page is the dates for 26, 27. I don't know if there's anything anybody sees here which makes you think, no, we shouldn't do it.
August 3rd.
okay, can we move August 3rd to the 10th?
Yep.
September is Labor Day too.
What's that?
September is Labor Day, I believe.
The 7th is? Okay, so we should make that 9/14 then, okay.
Wait, you lost me, what'd she say?
The 7th of November, September, she says she believes is Labor Day.
Oh, September.
Yep.
Oh, okay, so that would be what, 14th?
Yeah, 14, yeah, so 8/10 and then 9/14.
Okay, and August, we can make it on the 10th?
Yeah, we'll make it the 10th.
That's okay?
Yep.
And everybody?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, I was gonna say, I
Uh,
don't remember the last time we held an August meeting, but we'll have
What
it.
about, what about this Monday of that's June? And July 6th, I guess is okay, huh?
Yeah.
But that's after the
Yeah,
holiday.
for the holiday, yeah.
October 5th, when we going to Hershey?
I think it's that.
Okay, can we look at that?
Make that 10, we can make that 10/12.
Make October the 10th?
12th.
We leave by.
The 12th?
Right, so make it.
Yeah, make it the
12th.
12th.
12th is okay?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, Dave?
Yep.
Yeah.
So 8/10, 9/14, 10/12.
All right,
Need a motion to approve it, right?
Yeah, when we do that,
February 2nd. I guess none of that matters, yeah, okay.
What about January 4 should be 5, right? Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
That should be-
yeah, it should be 27, not 26.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's my bad. It should be
27.
27. Yeah. Yeah, that was my fault.
It is. It's the 4th.
But yeah, so we would need a motion to
we
approve
went
the
through
new
whole
calendar.
year.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
I
So,
make a motion to approve the adjusted dates for the
perfect.
EDC meetings for 2026.
Awesome. Second?
Okay, so,
Second.
any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
Awesome. Alrighty, so the Gifting starts with 5, which literally was something I came up with on the 14th, and we launched it a week later. Over $2,000 was spent at 5 gift shops in 6 weeks, $800 in donated prizes, and it just was tremendous.
You know, pretty good.
Oh, we made out very well. And the people that won the gifts or the prizes are very happy.
Good.
Eat local, win local. We'll do the same thing again. That's kind of where we are. And yeah, that's kind of where things are. We're heading into 26 on a nice little roll here. Our hope would be is that we would start having some things put in the ground for spring on the Arts, Culture, and History Trail, which right now we work with the Historical Society and a local graphic artist. Kind of a smaller version we did at Veterans Park.
Yeah.
So we have this one picture that literally is right about if you were standing at the CVS corner, and you could, it's a picture that you can see clay pits on like everywhere. Then you're gonna have some other ones as well, historical ones, and then we can really make that really do something with it as well as potentially some more benches. So we're excited about that.
The historic commission wants to do so, yeah, paint that building, painting.
Yeah.
Meeting house.
We should get, we should get everybody out there with paintbrushes and long rollers.
Anything else, Joe?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I may, plan development meeting is probably coming up soon, I guess within a month or two. Does the commission want me to mention to the body, about zoning? I would like to know what other commissioners' opinion on this, or you want me to ask questions about this, or do you want it to be dropped, or what? And I will,
Zoning, and actually, they're gonna want more specific, no? What are you gonna?
just things that they are already passed that maybe that wasn't something that we actually talked about and our suggestions now. As I talked about a couple meetings back, I'm not pleased the way they actually came up with their decisions. And I felt as though they should have examined the different pieces, so let's say on the turnpike and so forth. Of
Well, in
what-
that case, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely mention about zoning.
Yeah, the different sizes and what could go where and what fits on an acre as far as square footage.
Right.
And what's out there and what's not, how much frontage it should have. That would be, something that would be safe. But at this point, I don't want to just have my opinion. If the commission wants me to bring it up to, maybe then we can get a joint meeting with planning and zoning to put things on the table. If not, and the commission don't want me to, I won't. Okay, because I represent you.
And it was specific to changes that we had recommended that never got implemented, right?
Well, I think in anything, if you bring up, and talk about a certain area, a piece of property, what it kind of, you got in the plan of development, and they said, well, you should build X there. Well, does it meet the zoning now? Requirements, don't just say, yeah, we should build that there. Does it meet the zoning requirements now? And if not, what are you gonna do to change it? How are you gonna change it? This way here, you have something to talk about.
Yeah. I feel uncomfortable about telling another commission that they weren't thinking properly. Because there are certain things, comments that they made, they didn't know how many square feet or how big a building could be on an acre of property. They should know that. You know?
Well,
And-
yeah, when you're sitting there, you go, right, yeah, it should be. You know, you can't just say, you know, build this there, and they will come, and you come on.
Yeah.
You gotta have some idea when you're planning your development.
Yeah.
Are you gonna change the zone, or are you gonna leave the same, and if it is gonna stay the same, then what can go there?
Frontage. You should have a certain amount of feet of frontage. With obviously one driveway. And they should be X amount of feet apart, and that's safe. Okay, we recommended 200 feet, they went to 175. Okay? Not that much difference, but
In some cases, it makes a big, difference.
yeah, you know,
if you're
Again.
short that, if you're short that 25 feet, makes a big difference.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know, it's a fine line. but-
Yeah, I mean, no commission wants to be told what to do and,
But you're not telling the other, just you're saying that here's the idea of what you wanna put there, you're just making a general statement, you ain't fitting it, but you're making a statement, does it fit there? Does it fit the zoning, does it fit the frontage?
But there are specific instances where they did not modify or change things that were requested.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
there's,
Well, when you're
Pieces-
right, though, but that wasn't the plan of development, that was only right to the zoning, right?
yeah. There's pieces that can't be combined out there. Okay? So if you only had an acre and a quarter, and it's not big enough, and you don't have any vacant property next to you, nothing could ever be done with that property as far as zoning.
Right.
But it's still a safe piece of property to develop. Believe me, I have a hard time telling them
It's understandable.
what to do.
Yeah, right.
Right away. Head cut off.
It's almost a, would you consider?
Would you reconsider the following? The
Next meeting, can we get a layout of what parcels are out there and what could be redeveloped and what can be combined? How's that? Let's take a peek at it.
Right.
If we went there, you're better off doing it, look at it first, so you know what you're talking about.
Well,
Go in, you know.
I do, but it's good to see in black and white,
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
Okay,
we would just do it in letter form, say, would you please reconsider?
I'd like to have it why you should reconsider.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Right. Right.
And see, I could easily get the finger pointed at me because I own property out there.
Right.
Okay, but what I'm proposing has no bearing,
Nothing to do with your property.
it has nothing to do with my property.
Right.
Okay,
Well, we shouldn't just let it die because things aren't right.
yeah, nothing will ever
If you
happen.
want more development, you're gonna have to address issues, otherwise the development will just die.
Nothing will happen.
I mean, it's not like you got an abundance of property to develop.
No.
No.
But there's hotels out there. Motels, actually. That would like to, redevelop it.
Yeah.
Okay, how big are the pieces? If they're only an acre, you're still gonna have a motel there forever.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think that the intention, which I think if you look at the first development that's completed, turned out really, really well by Mr. Snow. The way it's written right now is I don't believe the density is bankable anymore. Because they knocked the density down. So I don't see that likely to happen unless, again, if you're able to buy two motels next to each other and put together 3 acres or something. So you're right. Yeah, let me take a look at it because I think that is important to look at because you're right. That's the big thing. Be nice to be able to get some of those moved into different uses.
Motels still a lot with, section 8, welfare.
Yeah, they probably are.
Yeah,
I mean,
29,
sometimes-
30-day efficiencies. Then you gotta move somewhere else.
Yeah, but you could probably just move to another room, right?
If
But, look, those people need rooms too, but it doesn't mean they should be
I'm
there.
just saying, yeah,
Yep.
the owner, how anxious are they to sell?
It depends upon the family. Some are very anxious, some are not.
Yeah.
I think some of them because, good example, so BT2, we didn't have a lot of uses that actually could make sense. We did get a number of them added, so it's more viable now. But for a while, south of Route 9, I mean, retail, office, restaurant. nobody's gonna do that. Yeah, but no, we'll take a look at it. and-
It's all transit, they're all straight through.
Yeah, and I think what we can do, Eddie, is maybe we just say, hey, look, we're gonna take 6, 7 properties, we'll look at it the next meeting, instead of trying to take on the entire ball of wax and see what's possible.
Fine, I just don't wanna see parcels get proposed that can be developed, you know? If you were to say an acre of property, what would be 8,000 square feet could be built on it?
Probably a little less than that because with setbacks is residential behind,
Okay,
but
and parking, yeah.
and parking. I'd say probably 5 to 6 would probably be more.
Okay.
But that's not a bad sized building though. I mean,
No,
considering the fact that would probably be as much, if not more than the motel has, except it would be viable space at that point. I mean, my thoughts is the southern half of the turnpike, the owner occupied parcel, knock it down, build something new for yourself is what makes the most sense. Because I don't think an investor is going to be able to buy it, knock it down, build something and get the rent numbers to be able to make it bankable. But the owner occupied can make a lot of sense because if you don't need to be up by Lowe's or Home Depot, down there's fine. Because I mean, you look where the self-storage guy went.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. Everybody's going to find a Berlin Turnpike. So yeah, we can take a look at it and see if we can pick some and go
Okay.
from there. I'm ready.
Okay, good. Motion for that? To adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
second.
Eddie? All those in, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, abstained, motion passes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Vince, thank you. Feel better.
Thank you.
Miss Allison, thank you. Thank you. Be well, everybody. Have a great night and a very happy new year.
Thank you, Chris. I enjoyed the video today.
I'm sorry, say again?
I liked your video today. It's all in Berlin. It was funny.
Thank you. Like that? Yeah, it worked out well, except the fact that I was wearing
Not snow pants.
sneakers